All right. Good evening, everybody. Are y'all ready? Good evening, everybody. 6 o'clock. This is the Yates County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for August the 11th, 2025. I call this meeting to order. Ask Commissioner Grindstaff if he would lead us in the invocation, and then the pledge would be for Commissioner Ledford. So, if you will. Thank you very much. Stand. United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks very much, next action on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. It's short and sweet tonight, so I hope everybody can look over it. Any discussion? We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? And a second. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none, vote, motion carries. Thank you for that. Next is item number 4, our consent agenda. 4 items of this month. The approval of the July 14th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. The approval of the July 25th, 2025 closed session minutes. Approval of the July 25th, 2025 special meeting minutes. And the approval of the tax release adjustments for 2025 as usual for informational purposes. Do I hear a motion to approve or any discussion on the consent agenda? Have a motion, do I hear a second? 2 seconds, Madam Clerk. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, carries. Department updates this evening. We've got David Davis. He is our Cooperative Extension Service Director. Thank you, David, for being here. Hope everything's going good with you. Yeah, my truck did break down this time. Good. First presented July. Been on the way to the meeting. What brand? Okay. Sounds like me. So I'll go ahead with the department update first, just for extension, and just to tell you, maybe a little biased, but we do have probably the best extension staff in the state, in my opinion, and that opinion has been solidified through Helene. And you know, I know y'all are aware of a lot of what they've done, but I want to call attention to my staff because every person in my office has given more than 10%, 200%. Just wanted to share a few things with you. This handout is our annual program summary for the people. Got a little bit on there for each program. But every one of our programs have been extremely involved in Hurricane Helene relief. Actually had a lot of recognition. We've had at least 3 articles featured our staff in Wall Street, New York Times. We've had one in the Washington Post. We've had at least 6 or 7 articles in Cal magazine in the state. I went to training last week, and the dean actually came up and visited with us in our office, the new Dean Fox. And they're well aware of Yancey County in Raleigh for good reason, because of all the work that my staff has done. And every one of my staff members has got an award this year for the work that they've done on respective campuses. So they've been incredibly busy, but just on the act program, just the first thing we did follow Helene, the day the storm hit that afternoon, I was down at the fire department helping with the shelter down there that they set up, temporary DSS shelter. And as y'all know very aware, the county was separated. And, you know, by day 3, I was getting food and everything we could out of the extension office, collecting it from produce stand and other businesses, and anybody that gives food, trying to get that for the shelter before the supplies really started running in. And so we were there right off the get-go. Day 2, Adam McCurry was out with the fire departments, knocking on doors, checking on people, passing out supplies, and we didn't stop. The Monday following the storm, all of my staff were there. To give you an idea of the dedication, Pam was the last one we got hold of. She lives at Beulah. And when I talked to her, she got through to me finally in a phone call. I talked for just a minute, and I said, now, man, you can go to Beulah, go down there, Bradshaw, whatever is the closest place, you can go there to work. She said, no, that's not my people. And she went all the way through Johnson City and around back up the mountain and was there every morning. And didn't leave till 10 or 11 every night. And pretty much was managing the crew. And we had almost our food safety training there at West Yancey, keeping people as safe as we could and doing all that we could. And they were wide open. I was very impressed. Jasmine was there. Jasmine, of course, I was a program assistant. Now she's our A&T 4-H agent. And she was there helping them get supplies together, helping them coordinate. So the second day, you know, most of my staff was somewhere working in the county. And that just shows they're not just collecting paycheck, they care about people. They care about this community. I think that's the strength of our office. Nikki was helping as soon as the Disaster Recovery Center opened. She was helping with all the ag grants, all of Adam and I were out helping our farmers.
we couldn't answer questions about that. She was helping at the side of the Fred's building, just doing all kinds of things. By the second week following the storm, we opened distribution center, and very recognition needs to go to Summit Building Supply, particularly Barry Austin and Donald Banks. Those two were huge in coordinating their efforts, and they helped set up the Summit. My dad, our farm was impacted, our home was impacted. We had 24 inches of water in the produce stand, which is unreal. That's never happened before. And we had to pack up everything. He was shut down for a month making repairs, but he didn't stop. He allowed us to use all his equipment, his site for a distribution site there at Davis Farms. Worked out really well because it didn't block Summit's entrance, and we could move supplies between the two sites. But just in those two sites alone, and this doesn't include some things that come through me that came straight to Barry Donald Summits. I know they gave a lot more, but what I distributed was more than 6,000 rolls of large square bales of hay that come from 37 different states, which was unreal. 45 ton of livestock feed, probably would have done more than that, but our feed stores opened back up to improve on local business. I didn't want our local business owners to suffer that was selling livestock feed, and so we kind of ended that earlier than we probably had to. But I thought it was more important to make sure those dollars flowed for those local businesses. So we did get about 45 ton in about 2 months or a month and a half. We coordinated over $5,000 in donations. That's just what I knew of that for feed purchases. And then we distributed that out to farmers. Over 10,000 T-posts. I lost count at 10,000. That's a lot of T-posts. There's a drop in the bucket to what was needed. Over 7,000 small square bales. And I can tell you, one night, me and my dad loaded a semi-box load from hay from New York. And those midnight guys up in New York know how to make hay. Those were some heavy bales. And after we unloaded that one load, my dad said, "I'm out. Get you some volunteers." Right? Call the National Guard, bring some help. 7,000 small square bales is a lot of hay. And that was mostly to residents, homeowners. People were getting paid to feed their rabbits. They just didn't have access. And so many people lost so much, and we were just trying to serve our community. And then 4,000 small square bales of straw, which, you think about what was happening with all the campers. That's where most of those went. They went to insulate campers. And I know other sites were giving that out as well. This is just our site. $8,500 in gift card donations. Most of that come from Kentucky. It's a team that I worked with up in Kentucky Extension, and also a team that I used to work with, Kentucky Baptist Disaster Relief. And we were able to get that out to families with lost homes. We did that through several different organizations and to farmers that needed assistance in the county. So those gift cards were everything from Tractor Supply to Lowe's to Home Depot. We were giving those out to the community. 7 pounds of barbed wire. That's a lot of barbed wire. Distributed 54 rolls of woven wire, and I wish I could have probably done 7 or 8 pallets of woven wire too. And that's still a need in a lot of places. So our ag community, they were hit very hard in the storm. And we've also coordinated different programs. You've got a list of those programs that we assisted with. Farm Service Agency Olivia Don, covering 4 counties with just her and her assistant. Amazing job that they've done. That they set up every Tuesday in the extension office, and we helped her with her programs. And they did so much. ECP, which is Emergency Conservation Reserve Program, the Forestry Program, the Honeybee Livestock Program. A lot of those were FSA, and they've been here since the storm every Tuesday in our office until just recently when they hit a lot of those deadlines. Several different programs. One was Restream WNC Communities, which is actually a program run by Extension. Normally, we do our Ag Options program, which is coming up. We do that every year for farmer incentives to help them on their farms with $10,000 grant. I don't know how many they gave out, but they took all of Western North Carolina's money and basically funded it to 7 counties in Western North Carolina. And we received a whole lot of funds. The producers, the checks was written to them, and they could make improvements on their farm. But that was administered through our office for Yancey County. We also had a couple of unique projects. One was a grant funded by the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. It's an $80,000 grant. And, we're still finding the farmers for that, but that's to reach seed pastures and hay fields. NC State's sending up a no-till seed drill here in a couple of weeks, and we've got 132 acres signed up. I still have seed available for farmers to do that. NC State also wrote the Rapid Response Grant. They purchased a bunch of clover seed, and we seeded 182 acres by aerial drone. And also through that CFWMC grant, partnered with Blue Ridge Conservation and Development work to purchase a T50 ag drone, which we own. Extension office, we'll be able to use it for future projects. That's been an amazing piece of equipment. We're doing a lot with it. We sowed a lot of annual forage crops, and we'll be going back in and seeding more clover next spring. Is that the one in the picture? That's one in the picture. Yeah, on the back of the page. That's there. Yep. Yeah, so it's good to have that. And now we have a trailer with that, a generator to charge the batteries. That's kind of a one-stop shop. I can take it out to farms and run with it. It's been amazing to be able to do that for folks in our community. We'll continue to be able to do some of these things in the future. And a lot of demonstration and research will go on using that piece of equipment. So that's something that'll stick with us. You look on through there, I won't go over every area. That's just where I really feel like we've made the most impact. Since the last time I saw you was on the ag front. But our FCS program just highlighted a few things. Nikki was, she worked on a master's project that not only impacted Yancey County, but all of the Western District and most extension offices in the state. And she's part of an effort, leading an effort in family consumer sciences to help our agents and extension offices better understand their potential role in a disaster. And what we found out since Helene is when a state emergency is declared, we actually no longer fall under the university, but we report to the emergency manager. And that's who we work for until they say, okay, we're done with it in the counties. And that's a process. It's been an agreement and an understanding for NC State and A&T for years. But we didn't necessarily know that before the storm hit. I wish we had. We did some of those same things, working with Jeff initially, and we did some of the same responses that we would have. But, there's a lot of things that we'd have known we'd done slightly different and would have been a better help to our county. And that's what Nikki's doing. She's cataloging all those differences so that if it happens to us again, or other counties, which a disaster will inevitably happen at some point, we'll be better equipped across the state to respond from an extension standpoint, extension point of view. And, we're already changing our policies and procedures across the state. Nikki's right at the head of that with her research. And she does amazing things. She's helped here with the county with the opioid settlement fund. She's helped with the county health assessment that they redo every so often. She's keeping us safe by training all of our food handlers with Serve Safe and so many other things. She's our local foods coordinator with local foods programs. So many things there. You can see all the stuff that she has going on. She's incredibly busy. She's incredibly not just busy, but she's incredibly impactful in the work that she does. And you always hear a lot about 4-H. Our 4-H program has not diminished. Helene did impact us a little bit, as you know. It's kind of programs for families trying to rebuild homes and schools not in session. So our membership of 4-H club members is down just a little bit, but Jaslyn's working hard. But a few other things on the state level from extension, just to update you on and make y'all aware already. Currently, we're waiting on the state budget. We're expecting some cuts this year, you can imagine. And they told us right now there's a pause on all hiring. And they are emphasizing filling positions that are essential in our counties for county extension work within extension. Admin positions are on the bottom of the totem pole. They're not hiring any admin positions as far as on-campus administration. And we're kind of in a holding pattern. And it has to do with the UNC systems, the way they're doing a new model based on the number of employees and salary caps and all that. And even for county funded positions, those dollar figures are figured in how they're figuring that. And so currently our 4HTA position is on pause. I'll be talking to Lynn about how to make that a county position so we can get that going. That's essential. We need it if we're going to continue to grow a 4H position. we're anticipating a 20% reduction in travel. And so we're working on getting a truck for our department and a van to really cut back on some of those travel costs, mileage reimbursement, since the mileage reimbursement rate 70 cents, which really works on our budget really quickly. And also a 20% reduction, that's going to take us down about $6,000 in travel on the NC State side and about $2,500 on the A&T side for 2 employees. And if you have to go to a lot of trainings and you have to do a lot of daily work in the county, it's eating up really, really fast. So we're trying to be really creative in ways to reduce the travel needs. A few other things, we're focusing majorly on lean recovery efforts, as you just heard. But also our SHIP program, we want to highlight Vivian. Vivian's done an amazing job with the SHIP program. This past year, in the last 12 months, since January, she assisted 98 seniors in Yancey County for a savings of $113,309 for Yancey County seniors since January 1st. And she helps them pick the best plans for their Medicare and prescription plans. She's answering questions, and having that face in office is really good. Last year, she served 250 people for a savings of $268,229. So you think of every one of those dollars being back in their seniors' pockets to spend in other places. Vivian's, tremendous part. She's one of the top coordinators in the state. And, our programs always get highlighted for what they do. Last year, she even covered Mitchell County. A lot of Mitchell County residents were coming to her, and our senior citizens really don't love her. A few other updates were we assisted in acquiring $450,000 grant for the construction of a barn and classroom and an arena at Mount Heritage. Groundbreaking is going to be on that pretty soon in September. And we're excited about that. An MOU will have to be signed with extension per the requirement of the grant. That was provided through the NCDA Farmland Preservation Program. And that MOU that will allow us to do youth livestock shows for extension, county district, and regional shows. So we'll be able to host events for youth livestock shows. It'll allow us to host a variety of livestock programs and services, potential hay auctions, and a lot of programming we'll be able to do using that. So we're really excited about that coming. We've been a part of that process, and pretty soon you'll see that nice arena. You're going to see it as you come into Mount Heritage High School. So I'm happy about the attention that our school board has on helping our ag program. They're expanding the ag program. As you know, they added animal science class. We've had more FFA members than we've had in years. And they've just got a lot going on. We're excited to support that process from extension. As far as extension needs, the biggest thing that we need right now is meeting space, in particular, larger venue. Our office with chairs can hold about 20 people, with tables, without tables, about 50 people. And since Celine, we've had a number of workshops that would have assisted a lot of individuals here in the county if we could have hosted them here. And travel was an issue. Right now, we're having to utilize Mitchell County. And I don't know about y'all, I hate doing Mitchell County, right? I like to host here in Yancey County. I want to see green, not purple. And we really need a larger venue that we can host at least 300 people, if not more. Right now, to use the town center, we have to pay $400 per use. It's into my budget tremendously. So I don't have very many programs at the town center where they haven't been able to do much for us there. We've got a lot of equipment coming in. We have the drone, we have the trailer. I've also put in a request to Farm Bureau to have a floor spreader given to our county to use. What that'll be used for is to spread mulch and compost on the farmer's field to help with soil restoration. And I've also requested a 3-point hitch lime spreader, which will be used for biochar. Mr. Stan Barnett out there at Cane River, he has a biochar unit. He's already making biochar, and that will be used to help farmers. We have fields that won't grow right now, or any kind of grass. They're just growing a bunch of weeds because they turn into sand essentially almost all the topsoil. And so what biochar does is it helps retain moisture. So does adding mulch and organic matter. So we've requested this equipment from Farm Bureau. We're waiting to see if they're going to send it to us. We feel pretty good about it, that they will. They've been begging me to put in a proposal, and like the proposal when I presented it. That's North Carolina Farm Bill, not East County. But we need to store all this equipment. We don't have room at our office. We have limited parking, as you all know, if you've been out there. And, you know, that's kind of the needs that we have. That's, good problems to have that we're trying to solve right now. But if you have any suggestions for that, you know, keep us in mind. But that's our two biggest needs. Any questions about that report? No, it's a lot.
That you don't, Bob.
We have. We have, yeah.
Been very active, along with many others, but we do appreciate that, what you've done, David. I'm telling you, it's very impactful, very helpful. And you guys were visual every day. We were out there every day. And at 4 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock.
We did a lot with 6 staff members. Didn't a lot. So, you know, I didn't figure any dollar on return investment or any of that stuff, but I'm sure it would have been pretty high. Because I know they done tremendous work. It was more every day. Stepped up, and it's the time that he has got that relationship with those farmers, even more so coming out the day this produce getting feed and hay. I saw him out there Saturday evenings and early Saturday mornings and sometimes Sunday afternoons and different things that people come from a long way. Because you need to unload them and get them back home where they're going to. But I see David out there a lot with that, pulling that drone. I've spread this many acres. I've done this much today, and that drone's really opened up quite a few doors here for these farmers. And for cooperative extension, we appreciate David taking that on and learning. Pretty neat thing. And working with our farmers, trying to get them back on their feet. So we appreciate you, David. You're proud. It's been amazing. I never dreamed I'd be a drone pilot. You know, I never entered my mind. And, you know, what kind of drew me to that was that NC State Rapid Response Program. And we had a gentleman, Preston Cady, that came up in the season. And he spent about 2 days with me. And I was actually going to try to hire him to do our grant season. And he spent about 2 days and he said, I'm going to lose too much money helping you. He's like, it's not that I don't want to, but I'm losing too much money. And he said, but you can become a drone pilot. And never knew. And I went home and told my dad, I said, yeah, I'll look video game days paid off. Yeah. So basically, it's just like a charcoal. It's the unit that they have. It's burnt in low oxygen. So it's a gasification process. It's the same as you would make charcoal like you burn on your grill. But they inoculate it, and basically it's got a lot of good stuff in the soil, a lot of good bacteria, a lot of good different things that they inoculate it with. And charcoal is a carrier. But what they found originally, the idea comes out of Amazon, and they found biochar was still around from over 2,000 years ago. Sometimes 20, I think the oldest one's about 2,500 years. And so it was used a lot in Amazon, kind of that flash and burn, and then you put your wood chips down and it turned into charcoal. But what it doesn't really add any nutrients or anything to the soil. But like our sandy soils, it'll make them hold more moisture and more nutrients. And so you might be able to grow something. It's kind of I hate this way, it's almost the last ditch effort to try to restore some of these soils that were impacted by Helene. And some of those fields on Pensacola, we dug down 7, 8 feet, never hit topsoil. It's all sand. And the farmer just couldn't afford to remove the sand.
You can't just turn it like traditionally what we always do every year, 2 years. You can't just turn it because it's so big.
Yeah.
So this, put it on as a top dress, or do you turn it?
You incorporate it.
Okay. Good deal.
You incorporate that with
So you're building topsoil back there.
That's what we're doing. Yeah. And it's not a silver bullet. I mean, they've still got, you know, a long way to go. And in fact, those pictures on the back of the ag report, you look at the very first 2, that's from my farm. That was rented. So the one on the top left is what we had. That's actually the week before the storm. The picture on the right is what we had the week after the storm, and that was a prime field in the county. One of those pictures, the one in the middle on the right-hand side, you know, that Cane River Park on one side, some of our prime farmland on the other side, and just devastated. And that's what we're working with, you know. Done a lot with our farmers. I think the biggest thing we're doing is restoring hope. You know, I had people come a week after the storm that said they were quitting, they got a little bit of hay, and, well, I might try it just a little bit longer. And as we go along, it takes more and more and more to keep them in the business of farming. That's what we're trying to do, especially the younger farmers, because that's our future. I'm sorry. Mhm. They, they will have to purchase the biochar because he's trying to recoup the cost of machine, which is incredibly expensive. He's going to price it around $100 a yard. Is what he's going to price it for. But we have the NRCS equip program, and it's actually an equip practice, and it'll pay, I think it's around 90 to 100% of those costs if they apply for that equip. Biggest problem we have with it's equip signups don't end until October, so they're going to lose a whole production year if they're going to use that product. And that's the biggest thing, biggest concern I have about it. But yeah, it is costly. And, you know, the recommendation, I've heard anything from 15 yards to 15 tons at $100 a yard. They estimate somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 an acre to apply this recommended rates. So it's incredibly expensive. So, you know, I don't hold out for it too much. I don't know who can afford that without assistance. But there's some farms, you know, Randy Miller's property right beside the river is the one that I think of, and a few up in Pensacola and Sundown 19W. They're not going to be able to grow anything if they don't do something. Mhm. Yeah.
So it's recommended to try to remove the silt from sand.
If you can afford it, right? If you can afford it. But it costs so much, you know, and then the USDA programs are 75% reimbursement. Now, what's going to help down there in the park is like where the composting facility is going in and they're applying all that mulch. You know, that'll really in that situation too. If you put 2 or 3 feet, let it break down and incorporate that back in your soil. That's another practice we can do. It's much cheaper. The mulch is free. You know, even the double ground, they're not charging anything for it for farmers right now. And that's one of the reasons we're getting the more spreader. But we know that's probably going to be the option that most of our farmers choose.
That's the performance.
I do. So voluntary ag district performance, we have 3 positions that's open and they're in rotation. We have the first one. Now remember, you don't have to do this by fire district anymore. So if there's another name that you all think of and you want, doesn't have to be in this fire district. But we're nominating them this way to keep it geographical representation on the board. So Newdale, the nominations are coming in and narrowed down to Roger Young, and those nominations came in from Soil and Water, FSA board, regional FSA board, Yancey members, extension, advisory, and farmers in the community. So for Newdale, we're recommending Roger Young, who's a big cattle producer. For Rush Street, Justin Wilson, who's also a big cattle producer and a young farmer. And for Pensacola, Willie Joe, were nominated by the organizations.
No discussion. Okay, motion and a second for these 3 appointments. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. All right, thank you, Dave. We thank you for everything you do. Keep up the good work for any. Thank you. What a great update. That was good. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Mr. Danny McIntosh, our Insurance Administrator. Talk to us about some tax refund releases request as usual.
Mr. Chairman, I submitted some late applications, refund, release requests that accumulated over the last month. And how you want to vote on those, either separately or not.
Check everything out. Does anybody have any discussion about? I think everything's pretty cut right on your recommendation. And we can.
One item, information as is due to a series of mishap. We are late in mailing out the tax bill. If there's anything worse than mailing out tax bills, it's not mailing out tax bills. But that has happened. It's been software problems and format problems and printer problems, even medical emergency for third party vendors. But today we have gotten word that hopefully they'll be put mail this. So that's going to shorten up our August pretty much from 4 weeks to 2. We're making contingency plans on how we're going to handle it. We expect get a crack at getting it over there. Even today, when we get questions about how long are we going to have, it's like I'm supposed to have a month after I get my visa. Well, it doesn't actually work that way. State statute says that you may be paid at a discount until August 31st. They are due and payable that far come September 1. So anyway, we will work through that. We'll do what we can to accommodate everybody. But that's the situation we find ourselves in right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that. Anybody?
Question? Question, say, are you sure?
All right. Thank you all.
We need to vote on these,
Yeah.
releases and refunds. Okay, so I have a motion. Second. All those in favor say aye. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you all.
None opposed. Next on the agenda is our county manager's report. It's going to Austin.
Mine's kind of short tonight, but the main thing we've been working on is these FEMA projects. I've said multiple times, if it's not FEMA debris and department heads and stuff, no, it's not been live here lately in my office. So still got the water and sewer projects underway. One project under contract now and moving along on that. Baker's Creek moving along nicely on that well project. So Charlie Brown Road is about to take off as well. So you'll see some dirt turning on those real soon in the future. Baker's Creek wells under contract. So Charlie Brown Road finishing up just the last little bit on that. So then we have Raycourt Park. If you've been up there, it's coming along nicely. Done a FEMA project up there a couple of weeks, Lauren and myself, along with the FEMA reps. Also, the sheriff's office and dispatch centers coming along good. Out the ground really good. And Shane and his guys is getting that underway, and we're excited about that. Everything's on track there. Sometimes it's hard to believe that there's life after FEMA, this debris, but there is other things going on that keeps us hopeful, you know, for the future. But we get so tied up in this debris and how much debris is coming off each site and how much was reduced and how much was sent to the landfill or to different final destination sites and where it's going to. We have to log every bit of that GPS, everything. And I'm thankful for Debris Tech and some of the monitoring companies that helps us with that and sends us reports, but it's still getting it into the FEMA sites. We have 36 projects in Yancey County, which is quite a bit. Counties surrounding us, it's not necessarily that much. We got hit pretty hard, and we're just working real hard on getting everything built back. PPDR, which is that private property debris removal. We're trying to get a final date on that, and that is today. If you have to do some private property debris removal, look on our Facebook page, on our website, and call that 1-800 number, that phone number that's listed on there. Be sure to get your name in the hat today. It's not ending necessarily at 5 o'clock. They'll still take it. But we're trying to get that wrapped up so we can get that pre-approved by FEMA. Company out on the ground getting that work done because we're coming up on the year mark. Now, state says that the year mark is going to be the final push for everything. We need to have our debris cleaned up by September 28th. we don't know that that's gonna happen, or state's gonna get us a little extension there or what, but we have to play like that's gonna happen, so we have to push our people to try to get their name in the hat and get everything in, so we can wrap up some things. So if you know of anybody that might need some debris cleaned up on their property, please, 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 tell them to look on our website. We have some flyers in our office. We'll be glad to grab you some for you to take with you if you need a copy, a hard copy. But be sure to call that number. And if there's an answer machine or anything, just go ahead and leave your name on there. And or your neighbor's name or whoever, and let's try to get them in that program and get that debris cleaned up. Because that is their goal, to get as much debris as we can cleaned up in Yancey County. So we have a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces off to the beginning of the fiscal year. So we're off to a good start, but there's a lot of work still to do to wrap up from this storm. And I know you guys are working on planning a Halloween event remembrance or a 1 year anniversary, if you will. So we'll have more news on that in the coming days. So we'll try to get all that out to everybody because we do want to remember that. I don't think anybody here can ever forget it. But we do have a lot of projects, a lot of things going on, including the King River Park. Everything we have right now has had a FEMA inspection if it was needing one. Considering a large project, Rayport Park was wrapping up the last of them. The FEMA or King River Park, and also the campground has all had their FEMA reviews, and we have engineers on site. Everything's really nicely in our projects as far as I know is underway and on time. But good news to report. I'll turn it over to Morgan. She's been working really hard on this opioid settlement money that we have, and she's got a group together that has took applications. She's done her home visit, the building inspections, and different offices across their local government here, and we appreciate everybody stepping up and being part of our group to help her choose the right selection, have the selection committee that chooses the folks most in need, and the score is really high. So I'm going to let her go through that with you guys. This is the first year of this is okay. Yeah, I'm stuck on health. Sorry. So this is where the groups have the health department and different folks have stood in for opioid with some opioid help there and some settlement money. And, this is the first year of 18 years. So I'm stuck on CDBG money here. But anyway, it's all helping everybody, right? It's all helping everybody. There's a selection committee on that as well. But this is the opioid funds and who's going to get what the first year, and it does have a selection committee. So we appreciate her.
Can you hear me? So in your packets, you all received a very lengthy report from myself, and it was written in conjunction with four other individuals, some of who are here. April Wilson was one of them, Mickey Manis from Extension, Evan Carroll, who is our community paramedic, and Cynthia McIntosh, that was represented. And we, had the RFPs, we scored them, we read them, we discussed them extensively. A couple of you were there just to hear a little bit of after this. Really good to hear what these, proposals were and their intentions to help all these counties, especially in our so this is just our joint recommendations with how much they had asked. We recommended we act. And again, these were just our recommendations on the proposal, effectively scoring them as a whole. We have this resolution that is in front of you now, that I want you to look over while I give you a little highlight. But there were 6 proposals total across 5 organizations. One organization had 2 separate ones that were obviously for 2 separate needs, and so that's the reason there were 6 and 5. So it's a little different there. So I have put those together in this resolution because that is in accordance with the MOA. Is that all right? That is required with the state to extend these. You all that say, how much to, but these are our recommendations. The first to, recommend funding the Mountain Community Health Partnership, which is in CHP, 16,000. Of course, they have their opioid treatment programs that they provide. They're looking to extend mine into Yancey. Without going into a lot of detail, of course, that's a huge need here, primarily based in Mitchell County, so that's why we recommend only funding at 16 so they can kind of get started and push some more out here. That's our recommendation as the committee. And they requested that our recommendation. A lot of their ask was for incentives and different things, but I think that might be later once the program gets started, something we're talking about. So second one, Yancey County Schools, they requested 46,000. The committee's recommendation was to 22 for really they're looking for a comprehensive early intervention strategy addressing opioids, anything misuse, prevention in school with different programs, which have already assist to a certain degree. And you'll hear that in their proposal later. And they do a red ribbon week. They do a lot of different things that are really good for the kids. And they'll actually, in the end, adopt the intervention plan. It's really interesting. I didn't know a lot about it. Nikki Manis was really helpful in kind of helping us understand the logistics of that. How it really helps get to these kids to make sure that they're having programs. So that was our recommendation was 22,000, just because they were going to contract and a little bit. The next one was Freedom Life Ministries. They requested $39,320. The committee 10,000 for some support within Yancey, of course, and their regional budgets to stay in Yancey County to help with programming and client support for just the clients in Yancey. Next was Live Like Megan for Meg's Place, Yancey County. They are just now kind of coming into Yancey. They've been in McDowell. Very great program. They help with foster children. In the interim where they're permanently placed. As you know, sometimes those children can spend a lot of time in the social services offices, spending the night, day and night. So they help in that regard, along with a lot of other services. They have requested 24,000. We have recommended 20, just on the basis of what their needs were. Second one to last year passed, like I said, they had two separate RFP proposals and RFP process for two different programs. First being just their general operating support for the programs they already conduct, the UPU, the Cougar Pit Club at the middle and the high school. Very successful, ongoing. This is just for ongoing support for that as well. They even take the kids to and from transport on it. And we recommended 30,000. For that, to support them in that. And their other ask was for the MyPRC. You all may have heard that or been involved in that in some way, the Prevention and Recovery Coalition. Their ask was 50,000 for that program. We had recommended 30,000 for what their needs were for the year. Mind you, this is for the next year. This is starting now. If it's awarded, so it would be just this that they would have to extend these funds.
And I would like to say that, Sandy and I had the privilege with y'all, and it was extremely eye-opening about it. It's been extremely interesting. You guys done a tremendous job presenting things, and the knowledge that was there with everybody that was in the room was good. Got some really good things that I had no idea. But anyway, it was really good. You guys planned this out. It was very well thought. Appreciate it, and I for one with us for this. I think that's a great job recommended what we need to do with this person.
Open any questions or thoughts about, trying to give you a little brief and for the public and well to know what we're having here.
You said six.
That's combined. That's
Okay.
what-
Yes, I had two different proposals. Yeah. Or I know that got confusing there.
Thank you. The questions that day. That all the answers, and you guys definitely big stuff. Have a motion, do I hear a second? Second, all those in favor say aye. There's none opposed, motion carries. It's a good thing, thank you, Morgan, appreciate that. All right, next on the, anything else, Lynn, I'm sorry, I apologize. Next on the agenda is our county commissioners report, any commissioners have anything?
Got a question. So right now, we're just, got some A&E money coming down from FEMA. And so we're in the beginning stages of that. We have the engineer and the architect there on site. CTL under contract with them. That is to give us our best bang for our buck, what we could put back, what FEMA's gonna, pay over us. So they are, what the damages are right now, they're in the initial lining that up with what the FEMA report is, what they say that they can pay, and go back and forth, making sure we got all our damages listed. What the cost would be on those, and then we can start working through them. And we'll start when they get designed, when they get to that process, they will bring them and present them to the commission. To prove or say, no, we'd like a road on this side or a water line on that side, but they'll assess that land and say, then start bringing it back to you. This is where the water line can go, this is where this can go, this is where that can go. This building needs to come down, there's only one thing up there. You know, whether it's structurally sound or whether it's not, a pool, that kind of thing. They'll start assessing every bit of that for us. So they'll look at the whole thing and step by step on the parks and everything. They'll start bringing that back to the commissioners, getting their approval, their ideas, and we move forward like this. Because we know not necessarily that campground needs to be built back in the same manner. Maybe where it can be more resilient and stand a little bit more water. So
I think we got about, I think we did, yeah.
and they're doing the same thing. So they're doing the same thing. They've assessed the burn down there. We have withers and rattle alongside. We just didn't want to take what the FEMA said was to be the true gospel. We wanted to have our people in there. So, you know, don't forget, we had 3 ball fields, this length of fence, this scoreboard, that dog park, whatever. Make sure we get everything listed and all their, money down on there, what it would cost to bring that back. And then they'll bring that to, you know, do we want to try to build the park back? Of course, we know the berm has to be there. This would be our 4th time or so building that park back. So, you know, is it better to mitigate it somewhere else? And then what do we want to mitigate? Do we want to leave a walking trail there, some soccer fields? You know, maybe a dog park or something that if the water gets up, it's not going to hurt it that much. So, you know, where do we want to mitigate it? Do we have another place? Through the process on what's the best thing for the butt, for the land, what we can get on there. Of course, there's a ton of resilience money out there, so hopefully when we build back stronger where this. We can never get away from the water and somewhere away from utilize maybe a walking trail. Or so they'll all be decisions that come before the board in the future. Don't have to. You'll start seeing some stuff roll here. Yes, you should, by the end of the year, it won't be right in the next month or so. It'll take them a while to get their feet under them and get going, so. But they're under them.
Well, the only problem with it, good. Opportunity to make some changes, necessary changes and some things, maybe some, anyway. But we've got to remember that this money ain't gonna be here this year, next year, probably, you know. So building it back might not be next year, might be the year after. We're gonna have to wait till we got the money to do it. So that's the huge thing.
And when you say got the money, it's FEMA money. If they went to pass through and, you know, why didn't we have insurance on those? Well, you can't insure a floodplain. And we knew that we've not been able to insure it in years past. It's always been FEMA. So we know how that FEMA projects roll. You guys know how the FEMA projects roll because we built it back 3 or 4 times. So even at the park, the last, where the water lines and everything, near the river down there. So that was freestanding up, if you remember seeing that. Took a lot of work getting it back down. So it's a slow moving process, but we're moving. But yeah, that'll come before you for your review and approval.
Anybody else? All right. Next on the agenda is our county attorney's report, Mr. Murray Law. Next on the agenda is our public comment. And we do have 2 speakers. And as I say, every month, we do have a 3 time limit. Everybody please be respectful of their time and opinions, whether we differ or agree. All right. Our first speaker is Mr. Matt Schools, speaking on the improvement movement. Thanks for coming, Matt. Appreciate you coming.
Folks, I live in Pensacola, fairly new resident from December. Actually came out here for the relief effort. Stay. Continue doing it. Keep it on way. One thing that we've noticed is that talk about debris really not happening. I was just told yesterday that up in Cattail, port area, they stopped. So I'm just trying to find out, you know, where the money's coming from, you know, what can we do? The roads being chewed up by the heavy equipment. So now residents are having a hard time. So that's a big thing. You know, Cattail, the Steam Rivers, you know, Bolton's Creek, you know, but this area has, it's most. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And our next speaker is Mr. Danny McIntosh. On tax.
That stands for trucks. That's what that stands. I'm gonna try to do this in 3 minutes. Back in 1964, I got to know the Carl and Ann Tillman. Ann would come to Pine Farm for the 1963 Chevrolet pickup truck and pick us up and haul us to the West Burlington Baptist Church for Bible. We'd sit on the tailgate hanging our legs off, you know, down towards the road. Now, it's going to get you hitched from the skirts across so services. So I've known that family a long time. Carl and Ann had 3 sons. They had Gerald and Freddie in it. 40 years ago this year, we incorporated GWP as a trucking company. So how many of you have considered being married to a long distance driver? Betty Penham was married to a long distance truck driver. Was for 57 years. Betty passed away on like Friday night or early Saturday, no, Thursday night or early Friday morning. I'm not sure what. So I just want to talk a minute about the woman behind the man behind the wheel. Betty was a solid rock. They raised 2 children, they raised 2 sons. You have a large part in raising grandsons. Betty was one of those people that was the same whenever you see. anytime, anywhere she was. She never killed pretty. And that says a lot. But, Betty went through a double kidney transplant some 12, 15 years ago. Not really had an easy time since. But she was a friend, and she was just remarkable somebody. Oh, she will be missed, and I'm certainly going to miss her. But like to ask y'all to remember that fact this week as we go through that.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have to go into closed session to North Carolina statute 142-318 on 11, A3, which is real estate land acquisition, discussions. All right. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session? Okay, have a motion, second. Those in favor say aye. We will be in closed session, folks. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody being here.